Christopher Schwarzenegger looks unrecognizable in new family snapshots. In a collection of getaway photos shared by his sister Katherine Schwarzenegger on Friday, Christopher, 27, showcased his dramatic weight transformation in a summer-ready ensemble of a fitted button-down shirt and pink shorts as he checked his smartphone. The photos, casual but filled with warmth, immediately caught the attention of fans who have followed Christopher's journey over the years. There he was, standing tall and lean, a version of himself that looked so different from the young man the public had once seen, yet still carrying the same soft smile and gentle demeanor that had always set him apart from his more spotlight-driven family members. Other photos showed family members, including his mother, Maria Shriver, and Catherine's husband, Chris Pratt, enjoying time on a boat in Cape Cod. It was the kind of sunny family getaway that seemed simple on the surface, but for those who had watched Christopher's growth, it was quietly symbolic. A new chapter in his life, one where he felt comfortable enough in his skin to simply live, laugh, and pose alongside the rest of his family without hesitation. A perfect day sun water wave, Catherine, the mom of three, 35, captioned the carousel of pictures. Her words, brief and breezy, gave little away, but to those who know the Schwarzenegger family, the day was more than perfect. It was a celebration of togetherness, resilience, and transformation. Christopher's leaner, healthier appearance in the photos wasn't just about aesthetics. It was a reflection of years of quiet struggle, determination, trial, error, and the deeply personal battles he had faced far away from the public's eyes. This wasn't the first time Christopher's transformation had caught headlines. He had previously shown off his lean new look in June, when he joined his father Arnold Schwarzenegger and siblings Christina, Patrick, and Catherine for the Season 2 premiere of Fubar in Los Angeles. That event had been particularly poignant. Walking beside his legendary father, the former bodybuilder-turned-Hollywood action hero, Christopher presented a new image of himself, one that represented the years of work he had invested in his own health. Standing shoulder to shoulder with siblings who were often in the public eye, Christopher didn't appear like the shy Schwarzenegger anymore. He appeared confident, comfortable, and ready to be seen. But what many didn't know, and what Christopher has since spoken about, was just how difficult the road to this moment had been. In May, at Beecher Vitality's Happy and Healthy Summit in Los Angeles, Christopher opened up about his weight loss journey, admitting candidly that it was anything but easy. "It was a big process," he explained during a panel per People. He revealed that he began modifying his lifestyle years earlier when he was living in Australia back in 2019. That was the turning point, the place where the foundation for his transformation was laid. "I just saw how much my weight was prohibiting me from doing the everyday activities," Christopher shared with the panel, a panel that also included Kelly Osbourne, who herself has undergone a physical transformation and could deeply relate to his journey. The words were vulnerable and real. They carried none of the bravado sometimes associated with celebrity confessions. Instead, they were layered with years of quiet pain, with the lived reality of someone who had spent so much of his life feeling held back by his own body. "I was like, I want to go skydiving," he recalled. "And my friends were like, yeah, no shot." He laughed at the memory, but behind the humor was a deep sting. It was one of those moments where the limitations of his physical condition were made brutally clear to him, not by strangers but by friends. He admitted, "I was like, yeah, I can't skydive." The words were matter of fact, but to anyone listening, they carried the weight of the disappointment, the realization that there were experiences out there that he might never get to have if he continued on the path he was on. Christopher also divulged that his body image issues stretched back much further, all the way to his high school days. "I tried everything," he said, his voice carrying the exhaustion of someone who had been fighting this battle for much longer than most people realized. He described doing meal delivery things in high school, the kinds of pre-packed programs meant to simplify weight management but which only left him feeling isolated. He remembered feeling like a weirdo when I was bringing weird lunches to school, those moments of standing apart from the crowd, his struggle with food and weight making him feel different even when he wanted nothing more than to blend in. He was honest in acknowledging that his weight loss was not an overnight thing. That detail was important. In a culture obsessed with quick fixes, fast diets, and instant transformations, Christopher was reminding people that real, sustainable change takes time. "It took a lot of trial and error," he admitted. And indeed it had. He experimented with diets, with routines, with ways of eating and moving that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. He failed, then started again. Slowly, painfully, but steadily, he began to build a healthier lifestyle. Among the strategies that worked for him was a mixture of fitness regimens and dietary changes. One of the earliest wins he recalled was surprisingly simple. He said he gave up bread for Lent, a 40-day period of fasting or sacrifice observed by Christians, and in that time alone he lost 30 pounds just through that. It was a striking reminder that even small, disciplined changes can add up to big results. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't a magic pill, it was just consistency and sacrifice. And yet, even with those visible changes, Christopher confessed that he didn't fully see himself as finished. He reflected on the before and after photos of his physical changes and said, "I don't feel like I'm an after yet." Comment was striking because it showed just how deeply personal and ongoing his journey was. For Christopher, there wasn't a clear finish line, no neat conclusion tied up with a bow. Instead, it was a process of constant growth, of reshaping not just his body but also his relationship with himself. But what makes Christopher's story even more compelling is the family he comes from, a family where health, fitness, and image have always played an outsized role. His father, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is not just a Hollywood star but also a bodybuilding legend, a man who turned his obsession with physical perfection into a career, a brand, and a lasting legacy. Growing up in that shadow was never going to be easy, especially for a child who didn't fit the mold of his father's world. Christopher's mother, Maria Shriver, is a member of the Kennedy dynasty, a family that has always carried its own kind of pressure, one of public service, elegance, and appearances. His siblings, too, each carry pieces of both worlds. Catherine has become a successful author and is married to movie star Chris Pratt. Patrick has pursued acting and modeling, often praised for his looks and fitness. Christina has found her path in creative fields. For Christopher, the youngest, it sometimes seemed as if all the eyes were on him for being different. Where his siblings and father seemed effortlessly photogenic, Christopher often kept to the sidelines, avoiding the limelight. And yet, those sidelines gave him something the others didn't have: perspective. His transformation wasn't about Hollywood expectations. It wasn't about cameras or careers. It was about living, about being able to enjoy activities, about not feeling limited. When he said he wanted to skydive but couldn't, that wasn't a metaphor. It was his reality. And now, after years of work, it's a reality he's finally beginning to change. The snapshots shared by Catherine captured more than just a summer day in Cape Cod. They captured years of resilience, the quiet victory of someone who had once doubted himself but chose to keep fighting. They captured a brother smiling with his family, no longer standing apart, no longer hiding behind oversized clothes, but standing tall, proud, and finally comfortable in his own skin.